This event is organized by the Wismar Hochschule and also in the framework of the international project M4UA, which is EU compliance M4UA, which is implemented by the authorities. In the center of our today's discussion, compliance education as the tool for the development of trust and responsibility in the universities. And thanks to the cooperation of Hochschule Wismar and Ukrainian universities, we can implement efficient changes and various research initiatives. Today you will hear the experts from both Ukraine and Germany, the coordinator of Erasmus Plus Ukraine, and also the representatives of the business. So let's move to the discussion. First, I would like to introduce our team and our guests. So first of all, we will start with our guest from Germany. Let me introduce you Professor Ali Arnaut, the professor of business administration, head of the international management program, and also Andreas Steininger, professor of commercial law, and also Anna Fomenko, the researcher from Hochschule Wismar. Among Ukrainian participants, we have Ms. Svetlana Shidikova, the coordinator of the National Erasmus Plus office in Ukraine, and also vice rector for research, Taras Shevchenko National University of Kyiv, and also the founder of PNRM of Ukraine, Ms. Professor Hanna Tolstanova, Ms. Natalia Shalimova, I'm very sorry, Natalia Shalimova, a national coordinator of the project EU Compliance M4UA, and also Dean of the Faculty of Economics of the Central Ukrainian National Technical University, which is based in Kropyvnytsky city. And also today we have Mr. Roman Nesterenko, the official representative of the EU of Compliance for UA project from the Ukrainian side, deputy head of the International Relations Department of Vienna, Karas and Kharkiv National University. And today also we have Danilo Klobo, EU Control, Deputy General Director for Legal Affairs Lawyer, and also me, moderator, Irina Steinmiller, head of the Department of International Relations, Karas and Kharkiv National University. So I'm very glad to see all of you today, and for the opening word I'm passing the floor to Ms. Svetlana Shidikova. Could you tell us what kind of trends do you see for the Ukrainian universities in the framework of the participation of Erasmus Plus programs, and how important it is to participate in European projects and the further perspectives of science and education? Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you very much for this event. We would like to thank our partners also, especially the foreign partners who came from abroad and who had a test today, resilient test, strength test, and together with all Ukrainians, they went through this experience, this night and day, and once again, here we are working again. And we have a very powerful Erasmus alumni and the communities of Erasmus who cooperate with the European Union and with the support of the European Commission are able to implement the projects which help us to develop new Ukraine as a part of the European Union. And almost all the trends and priorities we have are first of all related to the recovery and post-war reconstruction, and we are enhancing the international cooperation for Ukrainian universities with the international partners for the post-war reconstruction and development of new state in the framework of as a part of the European Union. And of course, another important priority is the preparation of Ukraine for accession, especially during negotiation process. And the key priorities of cooperation, they are identified and recommended by the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Sport of Ukraine, and also they cooperate with international partners, with our universities, and with the other NGOs who are the part of the implementation of Erasmus Plus programs in Ukraine. And in fact, in higher education, we have the directions which are focused on the preparation of the experts for negotiations. So that interpreters into the languages of the European Union, and also that is the preparation of the programs and the preparation of the programs in foreign languages or in languages of the European Union. And also we consider universities as a driver for the development of the regions and communities. And in this way, we implement the third mission of the universities and also the development of the centers of the development and expertise and knowledge exchange. Beside that, we are developing individualized trajectory of education for students, and we are working with our international partners to develop it. Beside that, we are preparing the teachers and lecturers and also the trainings for teachers, starting from school, pedagogic education, teaching adults, and also the development of the access to these specialty and the professional upskill for the teachers. And the last thing, which is also important, that is an open knowledge, and that is a direction where we have a big focus on the open education in the universities. Besides that, we work we have PNMR, which is working in this direction, and your project, that is also the active work in implementing the trends. Erasmus Plus program is not only financing mobility projects together with and improving the cooperation between organizations, but beside that, that is a platform and professional network with various areas of interest. They are developing, Erasmus Plus is developing professional preparation of youth. That is a complex approach which helps by studying the best practices, and sometimes not even the best practices, but nevertheless, we understand that we have to implement the high quality standards, and we understand in this way what kind of mistakes can we avoid. And for this, we use experience of our international partners. And beside that, we are developing active partnership. We have more than 30 years of cooperation in the framework of the European Union, starting from Tempus programs, and then we had Erasmus Mundus, Jean Monnet, and now they merged, and now we have 10 years of implementation of these kind of projects and lots of interesting projects. After the full-scale war, Eurocommission has opened various programs of support for Ukraine, and the moment for Ukrainian organizations working in education and youth and sport, we had 40 calls where we can cooperate with universities, with vocational schools, the schools for children, and we do that through platforms. So we cooperate with youth communities, and we have more than 5,000 projects implemented in various fields. The key tendencies and perspectives on participation of Ukraine in Erasmus Plus, and at the moment we are in the process of negotiations, and we want to get the new status for Ukraine in Erasmus Plus programs, and the speed of us joining this process depends on the results of these projects as well, and also on how we will be able to prepare the programs and specialists which will help us to integrate into European educational sector. and we will do our best together with our partners. Ms. Svetlana, thank you very much for the speech. Very important information, and I can only add that Karazin University, even in these at most difficult times, because Kharkiv is not a frontline territory, but the international cooperation is developing thanks to your contribution, and you are motivating us, you are helping us, and we stay strong, and now we understand that for universities it is at most important not to lose these expertise, this knowledge, the skills, and these opportunities for us to be able to integrate into European educational sector as fast as possible. So thank you very much for your support, for your speech, and indeed for us it is there are extraordinary steps which the Euro Commission did for Ukraine, and we deeply appreciate these steps, and we will try to do our best for our universities, for our students, for our researchers. And with this, I would like to pass the floor to Mr. Roman Nesterenko, who will share his thoughts on the efficient development of the sustainable development between universities. And he will tell about his experience about cooperation between Karazin University and Wismar Hochschule. Thank you very much, Ms. Irina. Thank you very much, all the participants. The fact that we met here showcases a few things, very important things. First of all, the international cooperation of Kharkiv National University, named by Karazin, is a vivid example of the development of the international cooperation. And if we are talking about Germany, this year our university is 220 years, and when it was established, the key role was played by Germany. The first professors in our university were from Germany. Many of them were from the best universities of Germany, and one of the central streets in Kharkiv was called German, and most of these professors used to live there. And also the German Kirche Deutsche Kirche was also there. Unfortunately, it was destroyed during Soviet times, but nevertheless, Karazin University is a leader in many sectors. We implement lots of international projects, and in most of these projects, we have German universities as a part of these projects, and the project supported by the European Union, and I'm speaking about Horizon and Erasmus and Digital Europe. So leaders, German partners are leaders for us, but the fact that Germany is providing the opportunities which we get and the financing we get from Germany, German partners are very active, and they are supporting us everywhere. And the fact that we are now here when our enemies shout Kyiv and Kharkiv so massively, and that our German partners came here and they are supporting us, that is a very deep support for us, that you came here. We remember that the final event of our project will be in Kharkiv, and let's hope that it will happen, and let's hope that our German partners will be able to come from Germany, but also from the other countries which are the part of it. In our case, the Universities of Applied Sciences is an active partners, and we have our cooperation with them is just increasing. We have signed the first agreement in the beginning of 2019, and in a few months our framework agreement grew into the agreement on the recognition of diplomas, and it was preliminary approved, and we are working on it. But nevertheless, at the moment, after 2022, we had a new a new stage of the development, and we are developing the research management, and our researchers who was escaping from that time occupied Izum found the shelter in Wismar Hochschule in the University of the Applied Sciences, and Mr. Ali Arnaud gave the place to Anna Fomenko, and thanks to this, our cooperation is developing very actively. We had internal and scientific project in the framework of which the part of the representatives of our universities for the first time visited Wismar University, and we planned the cooperation. We prepared and we won this project. We have the plans to develop compliance, research management, and step by step we can have this sustainable development and increasing cooperation, enhancing cooperation. Thank you very much for your very important nuances of our cooperation. And with this, I'd like to pass the floor to the team of Wismar Hochschule, and Ali Arnaud, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for hosting us, for having us today. For me personally, it's the first visit to Ukraine. It's emotional, and it's a special day where we know, and I think we learn and feel a lot today. So first of all, thank you for having us. It's an honor, and we are proud to be here with you together. And next couple of minutes, we would like to introduce the project that we have started, that Roman you just introduced, and why we initiated this and what we're trying to accomplish here. There's a chart that you see here on the screen that just describes the complexity of what ethical and compliance management means in companies. And it's a growing field. It's very colorful, as we can see, and it's around different aspects of compliance. Is it employee-related, competition-related, financially related, data-related, general obligations? So it's a growing field. I come from the business world, so I've spent 30 years in management and also in top management of companies, and I was always encountered with compliance and ethical questions and tasks and challenges. So my personal learning is, well, there's one thing to understand and to know the rule, but it's another thing to learn how to apply these rules in a smart way and in an efficient and effective way, so that the company goals can be accomplished in the same time being compliant and being on an ethical high standard. And that's the reason why today, as a professor at Wismar University, I'm focusing on this field, and I'm so glad that Anna joined us, I think 2.5 years ago in the meantime, yeah. Right? And that I met Anna, and we started to talk about this. To my experience, there's a kind of a maturity development when we talk about ethics and compliance in companies. And maybe on the next slide, when we ask ourselves, what is it really about in the nutshell? Then it is about doing the right things in the right way and for the right reason. That's what it is about. It sounds very, very easy, and it's easy to state, but it's very hard to accomplish in the company context, in the day-to-day operations. Because doing the right things means to comply with the laws, the regulations, but also the internal company policies. It's about treating each other with the respect and focusing on what is the top priority. And the general sentiment is, well, let's prevent and detect and respond and correct if there's something that is at risk and which is a risk for a company. In the right way means, well, by listening to others at all levels, in all locations of a company, and to enable and empower people to know how to behave. And here we see that it's less than a rule-based approach, but it's more a value-based approach. How to behave, how to treat people, how to lead people, how to organize a social system, and for the right reasons. Well, this is then about what are the goals to be accomplished. So what is the ambition level? What are the benefits? And the distinction between, are we doing a good compliance and ethical management because we have to? Or are we doing it because we want to? Is it our culture? Is it our style? And this picture and this overview describes also why we started this project. Because when then discussing with Anna and the question of how can we support Ukraine here, the simple idea is how could we support the next generation of graduates from Ukrainian universities and from Ukrainian higher education institutes to be aware, to be prepared when entering the world of work and employment, to apply these rules that are coming from the European context, that are originally coming from the US context. So this entire subject has been born in the United States in the 80s, goes back to legislation of the United States. So there's a development coming from the US, which took like 20, 25 years, came to Europe, has been established in the European Union, and looking at the membership of Ukraine to the European Union in the future and the reconstruction of the country, our idea was to say, okay, what can we do to support the next generation of graduates to be prepared? And we cannot start early enough. And to be honest, also in German companies, as a manager, as an employer, I can tell you, I hired so many people and they have sometimes studied compliance at university, but when they arrive in the company, they don't know what to do. They know the rules, but they don't know how to behave. And that's exactly what the project is prepared for. So we created a project with the help of Anna, and we applied for a funding at the European Union, which we are grateful that this worked out. We have company partners in Germany. We have the Association of the Compliance, the German Institute of Compliance Organizations, with more than 600 members, who's a partner of ours. And then we are so glad that we could put together a team of universities, 4 from Europe, 5 from Ukraine as a starting setup. But we are so glad also that this community is growing and that there's more and more interest. So it seems to be a relevant subject. And here we see the map of our partners, and we will talk about them in a minute. And yes, this where we are today has a history. So we started in 2023 with the research and innovation funding and foundation with the teaching at Wismar University, with developing also the standards. And then we did several initiatives for an Erasmus plus BIP, so blended intensive program, and a research grant from our university. And then we applied together. And we succeeded in receiving this grant, and now have started to work as a team. So this cooperation started formally in December. In January, we organized a first online conference. Then we had an on-site conference also in Wismar, and we are looking at a 2-year term of this project ahead of us. And I would like now to hand over to Anna to speak about the partners and what we are doing here, and what are also then the goals we want to achieve. Anna?
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. If you don't mind, I will switch into Ukrainian. As Mr. Roman has mentioned, I'm the representative of Ukrainian University. And first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Ukrainian universities, to Ukrainian guests, a professional network of managers, research managers, for the implementation of our initiative on organization of this briefing. It means a lot for us. It means a lot for the project team, first of all, because we made lots of steps to implement this goal. And we were working fruitfully together, and actually establishing good team is crucial for the successful implementation. I would like to thank the Wismar University and Mr. Ali Arnaut for the support, for the opportunity to represent today during this briefing. Some kind of bridge between Ukrainian and European, namely German university. That is a big honor for me to be kind of in between, representing both Ukrainian and German side. And at the moment, I'm the project manager, and I will try to do my best to fulfill my obligations as good as possible. And as for the establishment of the project and the project team, at the moment we have 5 Ukrainian universities, and on the slide you can see our partners. We have 4 European universities, and one of them is the University of Applied Science. So we have Suriname, and it's such an honor to work with the organization which is representing Ukrainian universities. And one of the ideas of our project was to help universities to prepare the graduates at most ready for the European integration, because compliance management is not just being responsible for what you do. It's not just meeting the requirements of the legislation, but that's more of a philosophy. And at the moment we are representing how the good decisions are made for the good purposes in the good way. So that is a philosophy of our project, and let's hope we will be able to support MA graduates, and our project will mean that we will have the compliance management course on MA during MA education, and we will help for the future project offers in a sphere in integrity, compliance in the universities, because at the moment, indeed, we are doing not only the compliance project, but also we conduct some certain research on these. And as for the German experience, I can say that a majority of economical and legal universities in Germany have for a long time quite a strong preparation of BA and MA courses in compliance management. Unfortunately, in Ukraine at the moment, only 1% of universities has specialized MA on compliance, or at least just any experts in compliance. And in the result, as a result of our analysis, so we found out that indeed there is a big breakthrough in trainings and postgraduate education for business managers, business founders in compliance education. So we can see lots of steps were made, but nevertheless, there is a small gap when it comes to the universities, and we are working to cover this gap and to have a good, strong cooperation between universities, businesses, and the society and our graduates who, at the moment, during the war, are seeking for shelter in the European countries. And for them to be able to be ready, to be able to find a job, they have to have some certain knowledge and expertise. And that is what a MA degree can give them. On this slide, I would like to demonstrate to you some certain activities. Of course, in our plan, we have a long list of activities, both online and offline. And speaking of the activities, we can say that we are developing the courses for MA program. We have 5 Ukrainian partners, and for 5 Ukrainian partners, we will develop the joint one European approach, which will be implemented according to the specifics of each university, because each university is a kind of separate unit with their own circles, with their own interests and specifics. Another thing we are focused on, that is a micro-credential course for the businesses, and let's hope that we will have support of Ukrainian business here to give us the practical case to have better cooperation with the universities, between business and universities, because in the framework of our research we found out that indeed these nuanced practical cases from business and compliance and also non-compliance cases, they are crucially important for work and for the practical approach in the preparation of our graduates in the universities. And of course, so we are preparing European cases as well, and we work with European partners, with business and compliance associations and Dailytrack, PwC, but nevertheless, that are European cases. And we hope that Ukrainian business, Ukrainian organizations will support us as well and provide us with real cases which are happening, unfolding at the moment, especially during this war period, and let's hope for post-war period as well. And speaking of the results, well, I'd like to pass the floor to Mr. Ali Arnaud because he is the head and coordinator of this project, and practical component and strategic component of the results of our project depends on coordinator, on how efficient coordinator is building this cooperation in the team, because all of us have our own specifics, our own mindset, and both in ethics and compliance. Thank you very much for support. I'm passing you the floor for the presentation of the results.
Thank you, Anna. You just pointed out that it's so important that we tailor-make, that we really adopt and adjust and customize what ethical and compliance management would mean in Ukrainian companies and in the higher education institutions' teaching and training activities, and that has to be tailor-made. And I would like to now bring into the loop my dear colleague Andreas Steininger, because the two of us as professors from Wismar University, we are representing the approach. Earlier I said there is this rule-based approach, so to know the rule, and then there's this value-based approach to say, okay, how can we translate this into an activity and in a management decision that also creates the value. And this is why we're here together to point out that both functions and both focuses need to be done, and we want to start with the rule-based perspective to then do the next step to the value-based level, because you need a strong fundament. And maybe, Andreas, if you agree, I would give you the word to point out what your experience is, because Andreas is very experienced also in the Ukraine, and he's prosecuting a lot of activities with you to the legal education. Andreas?
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Andreas Steininger. I'm a colleague of Ali Arnaud, and I'm very thankful, pleased that I was invited and had the possibility to join this meeting this morning. I come from the legal part of compliance, and finally I'm the leader of a little institute at the University of Applied Science of Wismar. It's called Ostinstitut Wismar. We had 9 professors of Kharkiv and Kiev at our university after beginning the war, because these professors, or the aim of this research of these professors in Wismar was to adopt Ukrainian laws and regulations to the regulations of a European community. If Ukraine really wants to become part of European Union, Ukrainian laws has to be adopted to these regulations. I know it very well from Germany, and that was the focus of our work in the last years, and this is also the reason why we signed a contract of cooperation in the last year with the Taras Shevchenko University to build up and to widen out this project. But concerning compliance, I only want to point out that I do not or less come from the point of ethic, or from the ethic point of view, but I have a practical point of view concerning compliance. The headline of this briefing is bringing bridging borders through compliance management. from my perspective, I was working for a long time in Eastern Europe, not only in Ukraine, for German companies. And the first question which German companies want to know is, we want to build up, for example, a daughter company in Ukraine or in Eastern Europe. Are our partners? Are they compliant? And this is very important for them from a practical point of view, because most of them are working together with the American companies, with English companies, but they have international status, and this is very, very important for them that they don't have that they have a good reputation. And for example, my work as a lawyer and as a consultant was a long time to create regulations for these companies that to make sure that the partners of these companies, of the German companies investing in Eastern Europe, are compliant, that they don't receive any problems with, for example, American administration because of non-compliance, and we developed this internal and also external regulations for these companies to make sure that from this point of view of compliance, that they don't have any problems. This is, and for example, we developed some models how it can be made sure that internally the company can prove that there are no the partners of this daughter companies don't have any problems with compliance. This is also very important for if you want to file an application at the European Community. This is also a very important point. If there are some doubts that a company is not compliant, you never will receive the money from the European Union, and it will be very hard for investors or investors won't invest in Ukraine if the administration is not compliant. And this is the reason why this project is for me very important, very interesting, and if I can, I will be supported by my know-how concerning how to create regulations to make sure that the compliance will be adopted, that all the business making in Ukraine and Eastern Europe will be compliant. This is the reason why. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Well, you pointed out with a focus on how to support graduates to understand what compliance means. It's just the preparation for the business life. So our expected results of our project is not only to develop the capacity of the academic staff in the first step, but it's also to develop tailor-made courses for the students in Ukraine, but then also to create certified development courses for management, for professional staff. And of course, this based on latest technology. I think also looking at the economic structure of Ukraine, we need to focus on e-learning and technology-based education, training and learning, which is very effective, and this is the must-have. Yeah? So, Anna, you also mentioned that we are here to support the country, to support the society, to support the economy, and our project is designed that way, that we bring together higher education institutions from Germany and Ukraine in order to support business companies and the society of Ukraine. And the final statements I would like to do is that yeah, again, we are very happy to have you as partners. We are proud that you host us and that we have built this strategic alliance now with the universities here, that PNRM has joined us, which is a powerhouse of change, and it's a very smart idea to do this approach. And yeah, we are happy to contribute our share. So thank you very much for your attention.
Dear colleagues, thank you so much for your amazing presentation, and also very happy to be your partner in this project, and we hope for our further fruitful cooperation between our universities. Як пані Анна
And as Ms. Anna has mentioned, our professional network, that is also our synergy. And I'd like to share, in 2022, Erasmus Plus office in Ukraine has organized a boot camp, and all of us were present on that boot camp. And at that moment, we had an idea of establishing professional network. And let me tell you the secret. All of us Ukrainian participants, all of us are the members of this network. So Ms. Anna Tolstanova, that is our soul, our heart, our driver of our NGO, and it is at most important education and weight for the managers who are supporting education, science in Ukraine. And with this, I'm glad to pass the mic to you, and of course we'd like to hear about the role of compliance in the education of scientists and researchers, and also PNRM NGO work. Thank you, Ms. Irina. First of all, I would like to thank our guests. And I want to say that for more than 10 years, I work in the system of organization of science, and I have a degree in biology. And as biologist, I clearly understood the methodology of conducting the scientific researches. And with my experience as organizer in the sector of education, I understood the need in upskilling, in professionalization of those people who support scientific researchers and support scientific work in universities. And the topic of our today's briefing is the bridge between Ukraine and Germany and establishment of our NGO. And Germany played a big role in establishing of our organization, because we got the information about these kind of associations, these kind of communities of researchers, thanks to the project which was financed by BMP through the tool there, and it was aimed on the professional education for the university staff who work in the internationalization sector. And thanks to this project, which was held by Taras Shevchenko University and Leibniz University in Hanover, we were the partners for this project. And we, thanks to this project, we learned that without professional associations, no development is possible. And what we lack is these kind of associations in Germany. And therefore, we decided to do that. And the full-scale war was a big push for us. And we understood that we have to establish this network of professionals for us to be able to support each other, to exchange horizontally with our knowledge. And indeed, it was a very good decision, and the result is that we are today on this briefing. We are the representatives of different oblasts, different regions of the world. Our managers in science and education at the moment are working not only in Ukraine but also abroad, and this network really worked well. Speaking of compliance in education, well, that is definitely an exclamation mark which we put after compliance, because Ukraine is on the Euro-integrational way, and we understand our high responsibility, because Ukraine is interested in Euro-integration, and we can see that the number of the opportunities from the international partners on development is growing, and we can understand our responsibility. We also understand that education and science managers qualification is not enough in those universities, and lack of qualification of these experts in compliance does not allow many good scientists to participate in international partners, and that is an obstacle for them, because we do understand that compliance, as it was already mentioned, I really like these thesis, that is philosophy, and educating this philosophy, these ethics of the responsibility is the grounds for trust from our partners, and we will be more active and more efficient. And once again, I'd like to thank Professor Arnaud for his, so to say, when he was an active initiator to support managers, research managers in Ukraine, to teach them this philosophy. He was proactive, and well, to be frankly speaking, I sincerely would like to thank you. You agreed to become the member of our consultancy board and to consider PNRM as the partner. European Commission helps us. In January 2025, they published the European framework of competences of the managers of science and education, and compliance is the basis of these competences. And it's a good idea for our future project, because the project we are representing today is aimed on the preparation of new generation of managers in compliance, the experts in compliance management, but the system of higher education in Ukraine requires professionalization of those managers who already work in the universities and professional development for them. And I sincerely hope that the next project we will organize will be focused on this. And today, using this opportunity and also as a proof of professionalization of this sector and horizontal links that it's important for us, it develops not a kind of competition, but the grounds for cooperation, thanks to the participation of our colleagues from professional network. And we will be happy to hear the guest lecture of Mr. Professor Arnaud in the framework of our project on economical faculty of the Taras Shevchenko University, and the topic will be compliance management, and it is possible thanks to the project financed by Erasmus+. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Hanna. And with this, I would like to invite our national coordinator of our project, Professor Natalia Shalimova. And of course, I would like to hear your thoughts on the alternatives for the development of these projects, on the needs of the universities of Ukraine. Ms. Natalia, the floor is yours. The mic is not working, so there are no alternatives. So let me repeat. Ms. Ivrina, I'd like to say that there are no alternatives. The project has to be developing, and there are no alternatives for it. And the only thing I think which is needed is the need for expansion of this project. But first of all, I'd like to thank and to agree to welcome Dr. Ali Arnaud, Dr. Andreas Steinmüller, and Anna Fomenko for. I would like to thank you for that you came to Ukraine. That is a big support for all Ukrainian universities, and I can definitely say that it's a big support for all Ukrainians. It's such an honor for us to see such outstanding representatives of the universities and of business in Ukraine, especially after these kind of massive attack. And we are sure that Ukraine will be flourishing thanks to these kind of support. And as for the project, wow, in the beginning I wanted to say that one of my key interests here is audit. Audit in Ukraine started to develop after 1993, and in 2003 we adopted the international standards for audit, and that was a good step, because inventing wheel when you have strong best practices from Europe is probably not correct. Actually, it is not correct. And my way in this project started with blending intensive program, which was established in Hochschule Wismar University, and this program showed the perspective and potential of compliance as a key step for the development of the ethical space, quality, and alignment with the legislation. And therefore the project we are working on is a logical continuation for the development of Ukraine, for the European future of Ukraine. Another thing I would like to emphasize is that the universities engaged in this project is quite wide, because we have technical universities, and that is the university I'm representing, and also we have pedagogical university, classical university, the representative of Karazin University, National Economical University, Kharkiv National Economical University, by Kuzminets, the representative of the law enforcement, the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine. And in fact, it shows how useful these programs are for the students. Why? Because students can combine compliance in their professional activities like a hard skill, and also compliance for those future specialists who will be fulfilling the third mission of the university, the social contribution. And the experience of our German colleagues, Wismar Hochschule, and their unique courses from Ali Arnaut persuaded us that it's possible. And why this project is so different from the others? Because it's systematic. Anna Fomenko has underlined that we have analyzed the compliance courses, and in fact, they are mainly represented for lifelong learning and for postgraduate education. But we have to have the systematic approach. A MA degree is where we have to teach people to critical thinking and the new approaches, and that is a level where our MA students have to get this compliance knowledge, which will be used in both their professional activities and also their activities as Ukrainians, as citizens. And therefore, I'd like to think once again that this idea appeared. I'd like to think that we as Ukrainian partners are the part of this idea, and we can see a very big perspective for the development of this project. And we hope that we will have more MA programs, double programs, and that we will be able to cover also other spheres, for example, research activities. And it is also very important for improving the quality of our education. And as a person who is the part of the National Agency of the Quality of Higher Education, I can say that it's very important. Our project is ongoing, and we hope that it will be developing further as good as it was working before. And we hope that that will be a significant contribution to higher education in Ukraine. Let's move forward, and thank you, our dear German colleagues. Thank you very much, Ms. Natalia. And now I'd like to invite the the Deputy General Director for Legal Affairs, U-Control. As you remember, during our training in Wismar, we heard a BMW compliance officer, and now we'd like to share our experience, which, in my opinion, is also very relevant. Thank you very much for these invitations, dear colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this project. Could you pass me clicker, please? Our colleagues know each other well, but let me introduce U-Control. U-Control is an online system on counter-agent check. 10 years ago, we didn't have the compliance in Ukraine. And compliance is a kind of philosophy, as we heard today, and compliance meant lots of things. And one of the definitions we had that time is alignment with the legislation standards and also the internal rules to avoid risks. That is one of the definitions. But nevertheless, if we speak broader, more generally speaking, because some might have some kind of might not agree with this definition. In fact, we have to do something to make everything work, and that was the main idea. So how can we organize everything so that the person, when making the decision, when the professional is making the decision in business, could use something that was developed for her, and that him. And we developed the system of the analysis of companies or the private entrepreneur, and it does this kind of check in a few seconds. And we are using all open data sources possible. We use the public registers, we use media, we use analytical data. We use information provided by NGOs and so on and so forth. So, and all this information can be analyzed and considered lately by some specific business through U-Control. First of all, it was the general compliance, and then we started to get focused on more specific areas. First of all, that is tax due diligence. Then in Ukraine, AML became popular, and that is the legislation on the financial monitoring, and we started to work with this. And now, speaking of the international trends, and in Ukraine it's becoming also more popular, ESG, and we are also working with ISG. And in the beginning, when we were implementing these approaches, we didn't have any kind of courses. We even didn't have the understanding what is that. We were pioneers not only in IT tools, among IT tools, but also we were pioneers or in education on these issues. And now we have universities which have these kind of courses in the universities, and there are some certain methodologies, approaches, and many other things, but the content is the same. Compliance is, in fact, is how to make a decision considering the information you can obtain, and you have to analyze all this data to make the decision, and that is what we are doing. Speaking of the mission, that was our mission, and let us tell our mission. We want to expand our international cooperation by forming a transparent business environment. We support the idea of transparent business, the development of civil society, and also accountability and public administration to, once again, the country. We want the country to develop, not just the country, but also the other countries. We have a few products. So one of the project is in the framework of Ukraine. The other one is the international one, World U-Control World. So you can check the counterparties all around the world, and now there are lots of risks for various businesses. First of all, that is Russian track, then PAPS, and sanctions as well. And not only for the people. And in this case, we can check not only the problems with the individual, but also the connections. And these connections look like in those movies about the spies, where you have networks. In Europe, we also represent it, and we participate some grants as well. And I think you know European CEDAR, and in the framework of one of the grants, we are developing the software for analysis of public procurement procedures for Ukraine recovery. And we suggested, so at the moment our suggestion, our offer is being considered. So we have new government in Germany, and they are considering our offer for the check-in software in Germany, because as we know, in Germany, we do not have such automatization as we have in Ukraine. In Ukraine, we are lucky because we are pioneers in open data sources. There is no other country in the European Union with such a big amount of open data sources. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible to do something and to achieve something. So YouControl introduced the tool for practical learning in education, that is analysis of the real companies, real business cases, and counterparties check of the companies for the companies and private entrepreneurs. We have different approaches, discussion whether it will be useful in Europe and whether we should implement it in the way whether GDPR should be implemented in Europe as it was done in Ukraine, because privacy, confidentiality is really good, but when everything is so much regulated, and sometimes you need to get lots of permissions and lots of documents. And when meeting our German colleagues, we were discussing that, and our German colleagues say that indeed that is an obstacle, that is protection, but also it is an obstacle, and we have to simplify this system. What we observe at the moment is the process of simplification, because when you are checking the information about the company, you understand that a company is a legal entity, and a legal entity is just formality, but there are people behind this legal entity, and we have to check them. And if we are not able to check the people, then it's a problem, and that is something we have to avoid. So how YouControl is represented in education sector. We have a memorandum signed with the participants of this meeting, and also with many other universities. And our courses are implemented in educational programs in the universities, and the university staff is also learning using the materials from our academy. YouControl has our own academy and our own courses, which have hundreds of lessons for one to be able to learn what is compliance, even him or herself, and to use the real cases and to be able to use the system. And this person can use real data. So with this, I'm finalizing my speech. We are ready for cooperation in the framework of any projects, and of course we understand that education is our future, and we are ready to cooperate with Ukrainian universities and also foreign universities and businesses and different projects, and together we want to make business environment more transparent, and we want Ukraine to recover, and for all the processes happening in this world, namely in Europe, for all these processes to be as transparent as possible. And we are ready to help, we are ready to assist, we are ready to cooperate in any way. We are ready to be friends. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your positive speech. And once again, we reassured that we have to join our forces for the further development of education, for the integration, for Euro integration of Ukraine into European educational sector. And well, I see a whole range of the new sectors and aims we have to be developing. So with this, I'd like to thank you for fruitful cooperation. I'd like to thank you for support and see you soon. Thank you.